Welcome everyone to the intimate sharing session. My name is Ranjan. I am working with PIA Foundation, which is partnering Hope into Action. I hope I'm audible. Um, so to just give a small brief, PIA as an organization is based in Delhi, but we work in the states of Jharkhand, MP, UP, Bihar, and co-creation. Yeah, जो आज की जो हमारी theme है, that happens to be something which is very integral to us as an organization. To give you a very small example, the first lockdown happened on the 24th of March 2020. And 6 दिन के अंदर जो हमारी झारखंड की टीम है, they were already able to negotiate with the government and in partnership with them was able to set up India's first migrant helpline number. Because the images what we were seeing were so haunting that we realized that we had to do something to get them back with dignity. That's just one piece of it. And similarly, across the work which we do, we have very similar stories. If you ask me personally, the reason why even I'm here, then during the second lockdown, I mean, the first one, we all were absolutely clueless as to chal kya raha hai, kya karna hai. But the second lockdown, unfortunately, I was not even in India. I was in Cox's Bazar, responding to the Rohingya crisis. And not being here, but being from Delhi, I think people who are from Delhi would know कि WhatsApp पे जो messages थे वो सिर्फ 3 प्रकार के थे या फिर लोगों को एम्बुलेंस या हॉस्पिटल में बेड चाहिए थे या फिर लोगों को ऑक्सीजन सिलेंडर्स चाहिए थे एंड द वर्स्ट वन वाज दैट पीपल वर सीकिंग कि क्रिमेशन ग्राउंड में या बरियल ग्राउंड्स में अगर किसी के कुछ कॉन्टैक्ट से कहीं से कुछ पता चल जाए बिकॉज दे जस्ट वांटेड टू लेट गो ऑफ द लव्ड वन इन अ डिग्निफाइड मैनर एंड इट वाज सच अ डिप्रेसिंग स्टेट and even during then the thing which really came at least for me even like not being here and being trying to do something I think the thing which worked I'm sure like a lot of you would know Rajesh who was a part of the community group. He got in touch and we were somehow able to really raise some resources and we then kind of did a very quick humanitarian project where we reached out to homeless people in Delhi and we gave them some dry ration kits, some COVID kits. We reached out to some migrants, we gave them cash. We were able to set up some community COVID care setups in states like Bihar and Jharkhand. And I know, I mean, this is a very, very small drop in the scale of the disaster that we were facing. But the power of the collective, I think that was a true testament of what, when people come together with the right intent, with the right intentions of what can be created. Um, that's one of the key reasons why I mean when they approached me to moderate the session, I was like I was really happy and I'm hoping that over the next 40-45 minutes we will be able to really listen to some really inspiring stories and go back with a heart filled. Today in this group, as you all know the format, we have one celebrator, Mr. Lakshmikant Nanda, who is a child protection specialist and is associated with UNICEF in Assam. And we have 4 wonderful sathis in form of Aamir, Joyhind, Harshita, and Yogesh. Uh, Before we start, just to let you know a small secret, the celebrator, which is in this case Lakshmi Narayan, when he hears the story of the 4 Sathis, he is going to give them a title between the 4 of courage, resilience, scale, and soul. And we will get to know what exactly is it after we get back into the main group. That's where the entire thing is. And with that, I'd like to call upon Aamir, who is a first Sathi. Aamir is a resident of Loni in Ghaziabad. He has been studying and working with the social sector for quite a few years now. The place where he lives, it's majorly a Muslim-dominated community. Most of them, the demography there, people belong to who are either laborers, street vendors, daily wage laborers, and in different forms of informal work. And we know for a fact that how the lives of these people were so adversely impacted. Even before the pandemic, like how much of a struggle it is for them. And after the pandemic, I think it just came out in the open. But how Amir kind of committed himself and with the work which he has done over the years, how he was able to actually create and lead a cohort of young leaders and respond to the crisis is a story that we will be hearing today. While he has a background of social work, but the fact that he is based and rooted in a place like that also gives him an added advantage of really understanding the on-ground dynamics in the sense in which he brings that work to the foreground. Uh, I think, I mean, I was reading his introduction, and honestly, it was a big one where he has written about how from COVID care kids to setting up remedial centers for education to conducting yoga classes for different groups. I mean, there is so much there that I really thought that it would not be fair for me to actually do it. Rather, I think Amit, you have 5 minutes. Why don't you go and share your story and let us just all be enthralled with it. Over to you, Aamir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this. Am I audible? Yeah, so actually my internet is not working properly. That's why I'm not opening my video. Okay.
Perfect. Go ahead.
It's fine. Yeah, please.
ओके सो जैसा कि बता ही दिया है रंजन ने मेरे बारे में कि मेरा नाम मोहम्मद आमिर है और मैं एक 23 साल का युवा हूँ और मैं अपनी पढ़ाई के अंदर जो है वो ग्रेजुएशन मैंने सोशल वर्क विषय में की है और मैं मास्टर डिग्री भी सोशल वर्क विषय में ही कर रहा हूँ। इसके साथ-साथ मैं पढ़ाई के साथ-साथ कुछ-कुछ इनिशिएट्स अपनी कम्युनिटीज़ में जहाँ-जहाँ मैं रहता हूँ वहाँ वहाँ लेता रहता हूँ कुछ-कुछ। लाइक जैसे आज मैं साथनिर्भर साथी के प्लेटफ़ॉर्म पर अगर आया हूँ, सो अपने उन्हीं छोटे-छोटे इनिशिएट्स की वजह से आज मुझे ये मौका मिला है कि मैं अपने आप को रिप्रेज़ेंट कर पाऊँ और इसके साथ-साथ जो है अपनी कम्युनिटी के जो इनिशिएट्स लिए हैं मैंने उसको मैं रख पाऊँ। सो जैसे मैंने बताया कि मैं एक 23 साल का युवा हूँ और अपनी पढ़ाई के अंदर सोशल वर्क कर रहा हूँ। सो अपनी पढ़ाई के साथ-साथ जो है मैं एक ऑर्गेनाइज़ेशन से जुड़ा हूँ, प्रवाह ऑर्गेनाइज़ेशन जिसमें मैं 2018 से उसके साथ जुड़ा हुआ हूँ और मैंने उसके साथ कई सारे प्रोग्राम्स किए हैं, लाइक स्माइल फेलोशिप प्रोग्राम किया है जो 6 महीने की एक लीडरशिप जर्नी है अ, जहाँ मैंने बहुत सारी चीज़ें खुद के सीखने के साथ-साथ जो है समाज में परिवर्तन लाने की कोशिश की है। इसके साथ-साथ जो है मैंने स्माइल प्रोफेशनल प्रोग्राम भी किया है प्रभा की साइड से और अभी रिसेंटली यूथ चैंपियंस फॉर कोविड रिलीफ एंड रिकवरी करके एक प्रोजेक्ट में को लीड भी किया है जिसमें मेरे साथ अलग-अलग कम्युनिटीज़ से जो है फेलोज़ थे उनके साथ एज़ अ लीडर के तौर पर मैंने एक रोल प्ले भी किया है। अभी फ़िलहाल मैं पिछले 2 साल से लोनी गाज़ियाबाद के अंदर रह रहा हूँ। सो बेसिकली लोनी जो है वो गाज़ियाबाद का एक छोटा-सा कस्बा है जो उत्तर प्रदेश के अंदर है। जहाँ अधिकतर आबादी जो है वो लेबर क्लास जैसे रंजन ने बता दिया लेबर क्लास रहती है, स्ट्रीट वेंडर्स हैं, ठेले वाले हैं, फेरी वाले हैं। इसके अलावा जो है छोटे-छोटे काम हैं, एम्ब्रॉयडरी का काम करते हैं, स्टिचिंग का काम करते हैं, बुनाई का काम करते हैं। सो इस तरीके के लोग मेरे आस-पास रहते हैं। सो जैसे मैंने बताया कि जहाँ मैं रहता हूँ, वहाँ कुछ-कुछ छोटी-छोटी एक्टिविटीज़ करता हूँ। सो अभी 2 साल से मैं लोनी गाज़ियाबाद के अंदर रह रहा हूँ, लेकिन इससे पहले मैं दिल्ली के एक छोटे से कस्बे जाफराबाद में पला-बड़ा हूँ। अ, वहाँ जो है मैं अपनी फेलोशिप के दौरान जो है कुछ इनिशिएट्स मैंने वहाँ भी लिए थे। सो या सो दिस इज़ ऑल अबाउट मी कि मैं कौन हूँ, क्या करता हूँ। अ, अगर मैं अपनी कम्युनिटी की बात करूँ, जैसे मैं बोला कि 2 साल अ हुए हैं मुझे इस कम्युनिटी में। सो मैं लॉकडाउन से 1 महीने पहले ही इस कम्युनिटी में आया था दिल्ली दंगों से पहले। मतलब लाइक फ़रवरी 2020 के अंदर मैं यहाँ पर आया था और यहाँ आने के बाद मुझे सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज था कि इस कम्युनिटी को जानना, क्योंकि दिल्ली राइट्स का इफ़ेक्ट जो था वो बहुत हद तक इस कम्युनिटी पे पड़ रहा था क्योंकि लोनी जो है वो दिल्ली बॉर्डर से मुश्किल से 2 किलोमीटर दूरी पर एक बसा हुआ शहर है। जिसके अंदर लगभग 24 से ज़्यादा गाँव, छोटे-छोटे गाँव पाए जाते हैं, जिसमें अधिकतर माइनॉरिटीज़ फैमिलीज़ बिलॉन्ग करती हैं। सो जब वहाँ यहाँ आया मैं और 25th मार्च को 2020 को जो है लॉकडाउन प्रॉपर अनाउंस हुआ। सो तब से ही लेकर मुझे एक 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 परेशानी मेरे दिमाग में आने लगी कि भई किस तरीके से लोग 21 दिन तक यहाँ के लोग अपनी ज़िंदगी गुज़ारेंगे बिना कमाए के। क्योंकि जो लोग रोज़ काम करते हैं दिहाड़ी मज़दूर हैं, जो लोग रोज़ कमाते हैं और रोज़ खाते हैं, उनके लिए कितना चैलेंजिंग होगा। तो यही फ़िक्र के साथ जो है मैं अपनी कम्युनिटी के लोगों के साथ बातचीत करने के लिए बाहर निकला। और जब बातचीत करने के लिए बाहर निकला तो बहुत सारे हमारे सामने स्टोरीज़ जानने को मिली कि किस तरीके के चैलेंजेज़ अ, उस फ़ेज़ के अंदर मेरी कम्युनिटी झेल रही है। सो इन्हीं सब चीज़ों को ध्यान में रखते हुए वो एक एक इनिशिएटिव वाला कीड़ा है ना मेरे अंदर, तो वो जाग गया मेरा। और फिर मैंने अपनी ही कम्युनिटी से जो है युवाओं को साथ लेकर, क्योंकि मैं अकेला नहीं कर सकता था वो कुछ भी। सो वहाँ से जो है मैंने कुछ युवाओं को तलाश किया कि ऐसे युवा जो पैशनेट हैं कुछ सोसाइटी के अंदर चेंज लाने के लिए। तो ऐसे युवाओं को इकट्ठा किया और उनके साथ जो है जितनी भी मैंने प्रभा के साथ चीज़ें सीखी थी वो उनके साथ की, रिफ्लेक्शंस किए, कम्युनिटीज़ की स्टोरीज़ को शेयर किया और उनको अपने साथ लेके आया और अपनी कम्युनिटी के लोगों के साथ उनसे बातचीत कराई, उनसे मिलाया। तो ये सब चीज़ें मैंने अपने युवाओं के साथ, अपनी कम्युनिटी के लोगों के साथ की। इसी के साथ-साथ जो है जैसे-जैसे समय बढ़ रहा था, फेजेज़ बढ़ रहे थे कोविड के, सो हमारी कम्युनिटी में, लोनी के कम्युनिटी में जो है वो चैलेंजेस भी बढ़ते जा रहे थे। लाइक फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ता जा रहा था। लोग 2 वक़्त की रोटी अ इकट्ठा करने में भी बहुत असमर्थ थे। तो ये सब चीज़ें जो हम जब स्टोरीज़ जाकर कम्युनिटी में अपने विज़िट करते थे, हम साथ और जाकर लोगों से सुनते थे, तो उस वक़्त हमें बहुत ज़्यादा इमोशनल फ़ील होता था और हम आकर मायूस होते थे क्योंकि हम बहुत स कुछ नहीं जानते थे उस कम्युनिटी के बारे में। तो फिर हमने इन स्टोरीज़ को इकट्ठा करना स्टार्ट किया सबने साथ मिलकर और अलग-अलग जिन जिन ऑर्गनाइज़ेशंस को मैं जानता था अपनी पढ़ाई के दौरान, जिन ऑर्गनाइज़ेशन से मेरे ताल्लुक थे, उन ऑर्गनाइज़ेशन के साथ मैंने उन स्टोरीज़ को शेयर किया और वहाँ से फंड रेज़िंग करना स्टार्ट की। और जो उस कम्युनिटी के लोग थे, उनको साथ लाकर और अलग-अलग ऑर्गनाइज़ेशन को साथ लाकर एक एक कैंपेन स्टार्ट किया। क्योंकि मैं देख पा रहा था कि मेरी कम्युनिटी के अंदर जो है डे बाय डे वो चैलेंजेस बढ़ते जा रहे थे। वो चैलेंजेस किस प्रकार थे कि अ, जो बच्चे थे छोटे-छोटे, वो अपनी पढ़ाई से बहुत ज़्यादा दूर हो गए थे, क्योंकि उनके पास कोई सोर्सेज़ नहीं थे। इंटरनेट एक्सेसिबिलिटी नहीं थी, क्योंकि ऑनलाइन सब सिस्टम हो गया था। इसके अलावा जो छोटी-छोटी बीमारियाँ थी हमारे यहाँ के लोगों की, लाइक जैसे किडनी की कोई डिज़ीज़ है या फिर किसी को थायराइड है या फिर और भी छोटी-छोटी जो डिज़ीज़ थी, वो जो ट्रीटमेंट अपने हॉस्पिटल्स में कराते थे सरकारी, वो हॉस्पिटल्स बंद हो गए थे उन लोगों के लिए। तो वो डिज़ीज़ जो है धीरे-धीरे करके बड़े लेवल की होती जा रही थी। और इसके अलावा जो है वो फाइनेंशियली तो दिक्कत हो ही रही थी, तो इन सब चीज़ों को ध्यान में रखते हुए, मैं और मेरे कुछ साथियों ने मिलकर एक एक प्लान बनाया कि किस तरीके से अब हम ऑर्गनाइज़ेशंस को अपने यहाँ लाएँगे। तो हमने एक ब्रिज तैयार किया जहाँ मैं और मेरे कुछ साथियों ने मिलकर, मेरी टीम ने मिलकर वो फैमिलीज़ की इन्फॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट करके जो है ऑर्गनाइज़ेशन का सपोर्ट लिया। और इस तरीके से हमने एफर्ट्स करने स्टार्ट किए और पूरे कोविड के दौरान अ, मेरी छोटी-सी टीम ने जो है लोनी गाज़ियाबाद के 40 कस्बों में जाकर, छोटे-छोटे गाँवों के अंदर जाके हमने 4000 से ज़्यादा परिवारों को वो राशन किट्स प्रोवाइड किए। इसके बीच में जो है हमारे सामने बहुत बार ऐसा होता था कि बहुत सारे चैलेंजेज़ आते थे, बहुत सारी स्टोरीज़ ऐसी निकल के आती थी जो जो हमें बहुत ज़्यादा मोटिवेट करती थी कि ये सब चीज़ें काम करने के लिए। तो देयर इज़ अ स्मॉल स्टोरी ऑफ अ कॉलोनी।
आमिर, सॉरी आपको इंटरप्ट करने के लिए। खाली थोड़ा टाइम कीपिंग का भी मुझे
ठीक है,
रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी
ठीक है।
मिली है, तो 2 से 3 मिनट में अगर आप रैप करें दैट वुड बी रियली
ठीक है,
थैंक
ठीक
यू।
है। तो ये सब चीज़ें हमने की। इसके अलावा जो है हमारी रीच आउट जो है 4000 फैमिलीज़ तक ये पहुँची और इसके अलावा हम महिलाओं के लिए जो है, वो अलग ऑर्गनाइज़ेशन के साथ कोलैबोरेट करके 1000 से ज़्यादा महिलाओं को सैनिटरी पैड्स भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर सके ताकि उनकी हेल्थ भी मेंटेन रहे, मेरी कम्युनिटी की। इसके अलावा जो है कुछ युवाओं ने मेरे साथ आकर जो है इनिशिएट लिए खुद की साइड से, जहाँ हमने मोटिवेट किया उन्हें बहुत ज़्यादा और अपनी स्टोरीज़ को बताया। लाइक हमारे साथ एक यूथ चैंपियंस था अक्षय, जिसने एक ऑर्गनाइज़ेशन के साथ कोलैबोरेट करके 20 से ज़्यादा परिवारों को जो है वो लाइवलीहुड से डायरेक्ट कनेक्ट किया। तो उनके परिवार आज वो कमा पा रहे हैं और वो खा पा रहे हैं। तो ये हमारी एक छोटी-सी स्टोरी थी जो हम सब ने साथ मिलके आकर एक-दूसरे का सपोर्ट करके अपनी कम्युनिटी के साथ आकर कम्युनिटी के लिए ही काम किया। सो ये थी एक छोटी-सी स्टोरी।
थैंक यू सो मच आमिर, धन्यवाद। एंड अगेन माफी चाहूंगा कि मैंने आपको बीच में टोका,
कोई नहीं, कोई नहीं।
बट टाइम की थोड़ी कमी है। एक्चुअली कहानियां इतनी सारी हैं, जैसे मतलब जो आइडियली इट शुड नॉट बी टाइम बाउंड, बट बाकी कुछ और कहानियां भी सुनी हैं। बट थैंक यू सो मच फॉर शेयरिंग योर स्टोरी विद सच डिग्निटी एंड नाइसनेस। नेक्स्ट आई वुड लाइक टू कॉल हमारे जो दूसरे साथी हैं वो जॉयहिंद हैं। जॉयहिंद इज फ्रॉम ईस्ट करबी एंगलोंग इन असम। वो एक ग्रीन हब फेलो हैं फ्रॉम 2018-2019 बैच. He is a Karbi, an indigenous tribe of Assam, and works extensively with his community, especially in the rural areas, and works in collaboration with multiple organizations. And he is the connecting point for the community outreach and the conservation work. He regularly works with Four Season Foundation, Northeast Network, and the Green Hub team, apart from many others. Join. I'd like to hand over the stage to you. अगर आप अपनी कहानी सुनाएं।
Yeah, thank you so much. Good afternoon to you all. I am Joyhind. So, I won't give my introduction anyway. Our friend has given me my introductions, so I'll go direct to the stories. Also, I would like to thank a friend Aamir, who has been sharing, beautiful stories, on COVID and on their works and all. So like followed by his stories, even like we did the same thing here. We have been associated with many individuals, organizations, and institutions here. And like we all know that COVID-19 has not only affected to one particular areas, it has been affected to the whole nation, as well as to the to all of the peoples. Since from the very first phase, COVID-19 has been affected us a lot. I actually first of all, I never thought of that I'll be working with deep people in this during the COVID situations. But it's bound me to work somehow. I never expect that I'll be working with my community or with the people around me. Since the first phase of COVID-19, uh, uh, people's they runs out of medical facilities, food, the basic needs, and everything. So like people came to me and they asking for help and all. Later on, somehow we have been helping them through whatever ways we can, uh, giving rations, and other things. We also give an awareness program to them also. But apart from that, like one story which used me to share is that during our field work, or during our uh, what to say during our field work, we have uh, faces one of the challenges which I would like to share here. So about Liban stories. Libans is a it's a girl he's been like a teenage, like 17 years old, but she is a mother. Uh, she got married in a very early age. Uh, she met her boyfriend like before the COVID, things, and she had been allowed with her. And her later on, he becomes her husband. Like her husband is a logger, which is from the remote areas of Karbi Anglong. Before that, like he's working in Bangalore or somewhere else. But before COVID-19, like she came back to like his native home, and then uh, like somehow they met each other, and they have been living together. And like even like both him and her uh, wife has been supporting their family since then. And during COVID-19, even she have been suffered from some illness that Libon's husband was. And during that time when we went there, like we have been distributing things, and at that time we have been we heard about their stories, and we went there. Like her husband has passed away uh, from some illness. Actually, like her husband is had been suicide, since he had been bedridden for months, and during COVID-19 he doesn't have any work to support their families, and even his wife. They too have one beautiful daughter. Her name is Nosi. uh, her name is Nosi, and bedridden for almost like 2 to 3 months, couldn't support their families. Now somehow uh, she was bound to suicide. Though their family didn't share about this, but their neighbors share about all these stories with us. Their family only share about he have been dead during this lockdown and all. So so their neighbor and friends, they have been sharing about this, about their suicide, mentally, he was disturbed because he couldn't help their families and all. So he got suicide, and he was dead. So he left his daughters, their fathers, her, his wife and all. uh, since his wife is at the very young age, she couldn't help much of the household work and all, but she did her very best to support their families. uh, she Actually, I couldn't say much, but it's still inside me. It's still this story is live with me. Uh, and later on, her families and then her parents, uh, since the lockdown, like she couldn't go to their parents' place also, so they are running out of everything, like basic needs like food, and also we have been helping them by providing some clothes, some foods items, ration kits, some medical kits and all. And even we have been, helping them with, what to say this, clothes to her babies. Later on, like, their fathers-in-laws, brothers-in-laws, and, the sisters-in-laws, well, talking about her because she couldn't help much to support their families. Even her husband passes away. Then those lockdown days, like she had been, trying to connect her mothers at her native, but like she couldn't do even the internet and facilities is very erratic in that particular area, so she couldn't do also like she have been sharing those things like uh, with us and with our volunteers also, and here some of our volunteers also participated in this meeting, so they're doing very well about this also. And like we felt very sorry for her when we heard about their stories, though we couldn't help much up to the expectation or up to our expectation, but we did our best to help her. And like no see like what to say, yeah, no she is obviously had daughter, like she had been like she didn't care about, like she had been playing all day long and all, and her mother had been crying, things and all. It was during the Jhum cultivation field that her mother, deep on TP, like she went to help her families by whatever means like she could. She have been working in the farm, though she doesn't have much knowledge on cultivating things and all, but she did her best to help her so that like her parents could uh, parents could love her back and things. But things didn't turn up what she was expecting. She was left alienated, even like with her family also. She couldn't go to their mother's place also, and neither like her father-in-laws and brothers-in-laws and the supporting much to her. So she left alienated, and since the like whenever like she shares about the stories with us, we are there to support him, actually to support her. So like uh, it's very it's very like even difficult to talk to them also, but like yeah, at some point we could help her. uh, I'll be sharing the stories and if it's possible. Yeah. So
Thank you so much, Joyhind. I think thank you for actually sharing this with us. And the thing with anyone, I mean, who has gone through this phase and even who is associated with the sector, I think one thing is very common is that the intent to help is so huge, but at times, I mean, we still do fall short. But please don't be so hard on yourself. And thank you so much for sharing actually such a powerful story. Um, uh, the next person that I would like to invite हमारे जो दूसरे साथी हैं वो Womenite Foundation से Womenite से हर्षित he works with Womenite, which is a non-profit organization. It's based in New Delhi, where they conduct educational workshops and campaigns on issues like child sexual abuse, gender, and menstrual hygiene. They have worked with over 500 school, colleges, and slum communities, which in turn has impacted over 200,000 students and women. Some of the achievements of Womenite are that they have won the National Youth Award from the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. They have won the WE Award 2020 by United Nations Volunteers Program India. They were selected for the Young Connectors for the Future program by Swedish Institute Stockholm, and they were the runners-up in the prestigious Queen's Young Leaders Award in 2018. I would like to invite Harshit to share his story. And at the same time, I will also request all our participants in the group to feel free to kind of share your comments in the chat box with regards to the stories that you're hearing. If it's something which impacts you, something which you relate to, you resonate to, please feel free to kind of just drop in a line and share about what this story means to you. With that, I'll pass it on to Harshit.
And thanks to all the members at community for giving us the space to share our journey during the pandemic. So like everyone else, when COVID struck, it was like totally upside down, like things totally changed. And talking more about the work, so for example, like food was the basic necessity, like actually immediate necessity at that time. And like we also started with our work in terms of doing the kitchen project in Delhi, where we were out on the streets to provide cooked meals to the people. But when we were like providing food and all to the people in different committees, we interacted with them, mostly of the mostly the female workers or the girl students, since our focus area has been around gender issues, on women issues, etc. So while we were interacting, we were generally discussing to them ki bhai aap log, how they are maintaining their hygiene during in this pandemic time. And it came as a surprise because these people couldn't afford to buy sanitary napkins like in the capital of the country like Delhi. Uska reasons थे काफी सारे. One of the major reason was कि the girl students who used to go to the schools, like they used to get free sanitary napkins from the schools. And since the schools were shut, like for around 2 months initially, like in the first phase, so they didn't have any access. And we all know that menstruation is still considered as a taboo in our society. And if schools open bhi hote to kitne kam percentage of the women or the the girl students, they take pads from the school. Second reason, of course, like most of these people, they came from informal sectors and they were out of the jobs, like the factories or what's up. So eventually family income decreased. And we all know that women tend to prioritize them at the last when it comes to their family. So जिसको मतलब खाने के लिए ही नहीं मिल पा रहा, वो कैसे एक 30 या 40 रुपए का पैकेट खरीद सकता है. So during May, like 20th May is also celebrated as Menstrual Hygiene Day. So we started a campaign called #EndPeriodPoverty to end what is neglected often, that is period poverty. अभी भी मतलब more than 70% of the women, they are not able to afford sanitary napkins. And सिर्फ हमें लगता है कि ये तो एक फैक्ट है, ये तो सिर्फ बुक्स में मतलब हम लोग पढ़ते आ रहे हैं, इसको एक्सेप्ट करते हैं. बट व्हेन वी एक्चुअली वेंट टू द कम्युनिटीज, और मैं दिल्ली की बात कर रहा हूँ जहाँ पे मतलब लोगों के पास रिसोर्सेज है, फॉरगेट अबाउट द रूरल पार्ट्स ऑफ द कंट्री जहाँ पे भी हमने ये और कैंपेन को स्केल अप करा, वहाँ पे भी ये प्रॉब्लम एग्जिस्ट कर रही थी और आज भी कर रही है वो प्रॉब्लम. एंड ये सिर्फ फैक्ट नहीं है, we people fail to understand that this is a beautiful biological process through which we all are born. So we started this campaign to raise awareness on menstrual hygiene management. एक challenge और था कि कोविड का वक्त था और हेल्थ वाइज सबके इश्यूज थे. Of course, we couldn't ask any of our members to come on ground because safety was the first priority at that time. So me and my sister, who is the CEO at Womenite, so we went in the remotest of the locations in Delhi, in almost all the communities in different districts, to raise awareness on this and provide free sanitary napkins to the girls and women who were not able to get access to the pads because of the various reasons. और जैसे जैसे हमने शुरुआत करी, अलग अलग लोगों से, अलग अलग स्टेक होल्डर्स से मिलते रहे. We started talking with different government officials, senior IRS officers. Then नवरात्रे उस दौरान जब आए, तब हमने एक प्रोजेक्ट दुर्गा शक्ति कैंपेन का लॉन्च करा in association with DALSA, Delhi State Legal Service Authorities and Delhi Commission for Women, जिसमें कि नवरात्रा हम लोग, ये एक बहुत फैक्ट है, like, and I think we have more female population here, and in fact we have some members also from Womenite from Bihar who have been working with us from Patna Women College. And everyone can relate कि during periods, we consider women as impure. बहुत सारे tabus हैं जो कि हम अपनी society में देखते आए हैं, मंदिर नहीं जाना, not to cook food, etc etc. और फिर नवरात्रे आते हैं जिसमें हम पूजा भी करते हैं उनकी, like girls are worship. So उस दौरान हमने ये प्रोजेक्ट दुर्गा शक्ति लॉन्च करा, जिसमें कि हमने डोर टू डोर कैंपेनिंग करी इन द साउथ वेस्ट डिस्ट्रिक्ट, डाबरी रीजन है यहाँ पे द्वारका के पास. वहाँ पे हमने अराउंड 3000 to 3500 वुमेन, हम लोगों ने डोर टू डोर उनको पैड सप्लाई करे. वी कैरिड आउट सर्वेज ऑन ग्राउंड कि उनके क्या मिथ्स है, क्या प्रैक्टिसेस वो फॉलो करते हैं, वो हमने लॉन्च करा. इनफैक्ट कामाख्या देवी मंदिर गुवाहाटी, वहाँ से हमने अपना कैंपेन का लॉन्च करा एंड वी कैरिड आउट आवर कैंपेन इन गुवाहाटी. फिर बात आई सेकेंड वेव की, जहाँ पे कि फूड एक नेसेसिटी नहीं था, एंड हम लोग के कोई प्लान्स नहीं थे एज सच कि हम लोग कैरी आउट करेंगे, बिकॉज उस टाइम नीड अलग थी, मतलब उस टाइम ऑक्सीजन का क्राइसिस था। और यहाँ पे जैसे लोगों ने बताया कि अगर जो लोग दिल्ली से है वो समझ सकते हैं कि क्या क्राइसिस था, लाइफ क्राइसिस यहाँ पे। और हम लोगों ने ऑक्सीजन कंसंट्रेटर बैंक बेसिकली फॉर्म करा, जिसमें कि वी चैनलाइज अराउंड 60 कंसंट्रेटर्स टू हेल्प पीपल इन नीड। तो जिसको भी कंसंट्रेटर की जरूरत होती थी वो हमसे लेता था। They took that from us for, let's say, 10 to 15 days. They used it and they returned to us for free. We were not charging anything. In that way, for a period of 1 to 1.5 months, जब क्राइसिस थे और लोगों के कंसंट्रेटर्स पोर्ट्स पे अटके हुए थे, हमारे पास कंसंट्रेटर्स थे जो हमने चैनलाइज करे। जब दिल्ली में सिचुएशन नॉर्मल हुई, वी scaled that up in different remote locations. So for example, there is this Gonda district in Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. Then in Uttarakhand also we send that concentrator. कटक डिस्ट्रिक्ट है उड़ीसा के अंदर, वहाँ पे हमने काफी काम करा। अभी भी हमारे कम्युनिटी मेंबर्स हैं जो कि वहाँ कैंपेन कर रहे हैं, हैशटैग एंड पीरियड पॉवर्टी कैंपेन के को भी करा उन्होंने, अदर रिलीफ वर्क को भी करा। इस दौरान काफी हमारा एक्सपीरियंस रहा, अच्छा रहा, इन द सेंस कि जैसा कि मैंने बताया कि पीरियड्स दे आर नॉट नॉर्मलाइज्ड इन आवर कंट्री। एंड जो चैलेंज था जब कोविड हिट हुआ तो किसी भी मेंबर को हम बुला नहीं सकते थे, तो देवर ओनली मी एंड माय सिस्टर हु आर आउट इन द communities to provide the sanitary napkins. तो बहुत टाइम ये होता था, the women were kind of
sorry to interrupt you. Actually, India has we have 9 more minutes, and we do have 2 more people that we have to hear.
Okay.
So if you can slightly kind of
yes, just wrapping it up. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yes. So उस दौरान ये हुआ कि भाई women were skeptical enough to कि भाई they were not able to ready accept the pads from me, but eventually that was a learning experience. वो भी convince हो भाई, उनको भी लगा कि हाँ भाई ये लोग हमारे लिए ही कुछ करना आ रहे हैं, तो वो एक काफी अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा। सेकंड, आई वुड लाइक टू ऐड कि हमारे साथ जो और वॉलंटियर्स भी जुड़े हैं, मतलब सिर्फ ये नहीं कि ऑफलाइन मेजर वर्क था, ऑनलाइन मुझे लगता है 80% उन्होंने रोल प्ले करा इन टर्म्स ऑफ चैनलाइजिंग इन्फ्लुएंसर्स, गेटिंग पार्टनर्स ऑन बोर्ड, etc. So definitely together we were able to pull this COVID-19 efforts. Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you, Ranjan.
Thank you so much, Harshit. I'm so sorry to again rush everyone through this. I'd like to quickly call the last Sathi, Yogesh Verma. Yogesh is a leading behavioral scientist and the founder of Gamechangers, which is India's fully integrated and diversified learning and development service enterprise. He was recently nominated for the prestigious and select list of 100 emerging leaders in Asia by the World Consulting and Research Corporation. He is a certified master, facilitator, speaker, and coach who has actually trained over 50,000 individuals working across Fortune 500 and 100 companies like GE, Walmart, Cisco, and Reliance. Since at the paucity of time, I'd like to just share that I really like one part of the introduction, which was he's a practitioner of Vipassana, and he also runs Vipassana for kids. And in his own words, it's a practice which alters the operating system of the mind, on which apps such as academic, arts, and science operate. Over to you, Yogesh. Please do share your story with us. Quite looking forward to it.
Right. Thank you, Ranjan. I will be super brief. So, कहानी ये है कि जब लॉकडाउन शुरू हो रहे थे, इनफैक्ट एग्जैक्टली 2 years टू द डेट, कल 24 मार्च को हमने शुरू करा था. वी वांटेड टू support some daily wage workers with a workshop. So we said that we will run a workshop for 6 days. This workshop was supposed to be on public speaking and storytelling, जो कि हमारा एक flagship workshop है. तो इसको अनाउंस करा, हमने बोला कि प्लीज़ आइए आप, अगर आपको अच्छा लगे तो आप एक या 2 कैंपेन्स हमने शॉर्टलिस्ट करा था, जो कि अंडर सपोर्टेड कैंपेन्स थे डेली वेज वर्कर्स को हेल्प करने के लिए, और एक ही वर्कशॉप करना था, और पता नहीं था कि कोई आने वाला है, कोई आएगा तो उसे एंजॉय करेंगे या दे विल फाइंड इट यूजफुल या आगे कंट्रीब्यूट करना चाहेंगे. पर उस एक वर्कशॉप के बाद एक से जो लोग वहाँ पे जुड़े उनको शायद मज़ा आया, बहुत अच्छा लगा, तो उन्होंने और लोगों को इनवाइट करा. तो 1 से 2 वर्कशॉप हो गए, 2 से 3 हो गए, 3 से 5 हो गए, 5 से 25 हो गए. तो मार्च से दिसंबर तक लेकर हमने करीबन 120 वर्कशॉप करे on 15 different subjects. So we started with public speaking, storytelling, वहाँ से फिर having difficult conversations, healing your relationship with money. तो वो समय भी ऐसा था जहाँ पे लोगों को मतलब वाली बात आसानी से सूझ रही थी. Like the main thing was to keep the main thing. तो उस पीरियड में हमने 40 से 50 कैंपेन्स को सपोर्ट करा और in terms of contributions we were able to raise about 1.25 crores. So all of this was, you know, there was no money exchanging hands. What used to happen is that if you like, so if Ranjan is coming for the workshop, he used to come for the workshop, and at the end of the workshop, he will be sent verified links, crowdfunding links, and whichever cause, so if he wanted to, let's say, support a campaign which was supporting women who were, उस time पे अगर आपको याद होगा, domestic violence काफी बढ़ गया था. सेक्स वर्कर्स के बच्चों को या सेक्स वर्कर्स के फैमिलीज को ज़्यादा सपोर्ट नहीं था, तो जैसे वो अंडर सपोर्टेड कैंपेन्स थे उनको हम सपोर्ट करते थे. So that's the bigger picture. नागेश है हमारे साथ यहाँ पे, जो कि मेरी मुलाकात नागेश से उन्हीं वर्कशॉप्स में हुई थी, तो क्योंकि वो यहाँ पे हैं तो आई थिंक आई विल जस्ट इनवाइट हिम टू शेयर what was it for him and, you know, whatever he wants to share. So Nagesh.
हेलो, आवाज आ रही है क्या? ओके, तो थैंक यू योगेश फॉर जस्ट इनवाइटिंग मी. मतलब मेरे लिए तो वैसा था कि 2x मल्टीप्लाई होना होता है ना 20x जैसा, तो मैं इस तरह बताऊंगा कि कैसे मेरे लिए पावरफुल रहा है. तो दो वे हैं कि जैसे मैंने योगेश की वर्कशॉप अटेंड करी और एक एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग और वो जो डीप लर्निंग मुझे हुई है वो तो हुई है काफी पावरफुल तरीके से. और दूसरा फिर हमने वैसे ही वर्कशॉप, मतलब जो हमारी लर्निंग थी वो टीम के साथ शेयर की, और टीम के लोगों ने भी कुछ लोगों ने जो अलग अलग तरीके से कनेक्टेड थे तो उन्होंने फिर वर्कशॉप अटेंड करी. और तीसरा जो फैक्टर है कि मुझे ये आइडिया काफी पावरफुल लगा, क्योंकि आप अपना वक्त दे रहे हो और कई लोगों के पास वैसा होता है कि उनका वक्त और उनका एक्सपीरियंस है, उनका जो दिमाग है वो बहुत पावरफुल होता है. तो हमने फिर एक्सपेरिमेंट इन सर्विस करके एक किया जहां पर योगेश ने खुद अपना टाइम दिया और इंडिया के बड़े बड़े राइटर्स हैं, कोई पोएम सिखा रहा है बच्चों को और कोई कविता सिखा रहा है, कोई कहानी लेखन सिखा रहा है, उस तरीके से लोगों ने वॉलंटियर किया और वो अमाउंट भी हमने कंट्रीब्यूट किया कि कैसे हम कोविड रिलीफ में और अलग अलग कोच में कर सकते हैं. तो एक तरीके से मतलब वो पूरा रिपल इफेक्ट जो था मुझे वो लगा, और वो ट्रिक भी वहीं से हुआ आपकी वर्कशॉप से, तो वो काफी पावरफुल रहा मेरे लिए.
Thank you, Nagesh. Yogesh, is there anything else that you would like to add, or you can? I think we have heard 4 really interesting and diverse stories from all of our Sathis. With this, I would like to invite the celebrator of the group, Mr. Lakshmikant Nanda. He's a child protection specialist in UNICEF. He has a lot of experience work around child rights and protection with a demonstrated history of working in the sector. He was instrumental in setting up the child protection mechanism in Odisha and has conceptualized many path-breaking social innovation programs with both field-level demonstration as well as high-level policy work. His contribution was seminal in setting up the Center for Child Rights and the National Law University of Odisha, alternate care arrangements in Odisha and Assam, a system-based award-winning program called PARI in collaboration with Odisha Police on raising awareness on child sexual abuse. And he also conceptualized India's first child-friendly constituency model initiative with young legislators of Odisha Legislative Assembly by building strong understanding for them around the issues of child rights and human rights. With that, I would like to invite Mr. Nanda to kind of wrap the session up. And I'll also like to thank, before we go, Imtiaz, who has been the co-host and has been managing everything at the back end. I know time is short. We might not be able to do that at the end. So thank you so much, Imtiaz. Over to you, Mr. Nanda.
Thank you so much, Ranjan. Thank you so much. And let me just, be honest, like it's very difficult to summarize each story what our speaker spoke just now. Let me start with Aamir. Aamir focused more on the, the multiple vulnerabilities that emerge in that particular during COVID phase one period which he encountered, and also show the path, how to address it, this whole issues of multiple vulnerability, which includes both the impact of rights as well as the COVID-19 scenario, and how to reach out to the most vulnerable communities, those who lives in the Delhi suburb areas. So that is very, very powerful stories that gives me that insights that if you were if you get right opportunity and support, like the support what he received from Prabha is actually further help him to help him to further concentrate and also speed up the work in the community. The second story is most powerful one, the Joyhind from Assam, what he spoke about the COVID-19 adverse impact, particularly losing a job and also life, and this whole issue of mental health and its impact on at the individual level, and how it disturb the families, and also this whole aspect of acceptance of the girls by the in-laws families, what he is writing now in the chat box. So that provided me another opportunity and insight to think about this whole issue of mental health, and it is emerging as a key areas where we need to focus in coming days. The third story which Harshit mentioned about, it's all about the scale, and and also addressing this whole issue of age old practices, the social norms and the taboos that is attached with the MHM issues, and how important it is when particularly people, they do not have access to have their basic foods, and at the same time it is equally important for them to look at ये जो उनका जो the basic needs say when it's related to health and hygiene and sanitation, that needs to be prioritized also when we are talking about essential commodities. The last but not the least story, which is Yogesh and Nagesh, they say it's all about how voluntarism spirit, how this whole single incident of narrating the story, conducting a workshop, reaching out to the people to mobilize resources and redistributing that resources, help to address the immediate needs of people affected by COVID. So each of the story is very powerful. For me, I find it difficult to summarize it, and but thank you so much. I don't know how much time we have left, but with this I'd like to say big congrats to all the storytellers or the साथी that we have today, and जो भी हमारे साथ बाकी participant है सुन रहे हैं ये story को, I am sure they will get much more inspiration from these stories. Thank you, Ranjan. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nanda. I think I'm personally really moved with all the four stories of which are actually, I mean, it is difficult to categorize them into any one of those four categories, because for me, all of them had soul, all of them had courage, all of them had resilience as a part of it.
Absolutely agree.
I would actually just request everyone in the group that as when the breakout thing ends in 1 minute, they would have a button to kind of go back into the main group, where actually you would be seeing all the sathis, the 43 sathis who have joined us together. And there the celebrators will also kind of reveal what they have kind of given. I mean, I know it's difficult, but they had a job to do. So we would know as to how and what categories have been given in that sense. And also, I think community has and Prabha have organized for two beautiful musicians to come and kind of conclude the session with some really interesting music. So as we go back, I would request everyone to click and kind of get back into the main group.